Greetings and welcome to He Sent His Word Radio Roundtable. I'm your host, Diane Woods, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to our broadcast today. Today is part 2 of how to identify your potential passion and purpose. This is part 2 of a series I started last week on identifying your purpose. And one thing that I do understand and that I do know is that God has a purpose for each and every one of us. Whether we're in that purpose or we feel like we're in that purpose or we don't know what our purpose is, we still have purpose. If we're breathing on this earth, there is a purpose for you and for me. And what God wants us to do is to really just try to identify that. If you don't know what it is, if you know what it is, you can improve upon that. There's always room for improvement on everything that we're doing. But if we understand that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, God has that plan for us to be able to assist or to work with others or to bless others with the gifts and talents that we ourselves actually have. Mine is teaching. I love teaching and training. But for the purposes of our broadcast, I was just giving an illustration on writing, on being a writer, being someone who loves to travel, and for helping people. If you missed that broadcast, you can go back and listen to it. I am recording this for our YouTube audience as well, so there is a slide presentation that goes along with it. For those of you who would like to tune in, you can click on the link and watch the radio broadcast as well. So let's go ahead and get started with part 2 of how to identify your potential passion and purpose. What we're thinking about today, when we talk about brainstorming, that's where we ended last week. Brainstorming, writing, traveling, and helping people. Well, and your favorite hobbies, and including your favorite hobbies. One of your favorite hobbies could be just anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be something real serious. Your favorite hobby can be, let's just say, pottery. Pottery is your favorite hobby. Well, you're writing, you're traveling, and you're helping people. And so the next step in our process is to really narrow the focus. So you want to narrow that focus. We talked about writing short stories and blogs or newspapers. So you start out with that general idea of what you like to write. And so what we're going to do is just kind of narrow it down so that you can see through this example how this process works. Now, it could be anything in the whole wide world. When I work with our teenagers or our high school students, helping them to identify maybe where they want to have a job or even go to college, we go through this process so that they can make good choices and good career selections for school and or for work. So let's think about writing. We're going to talk about short stories. So let's just narrow it down. Okay, I want to be a writer and I want to write short stories. And I like to travel. Traveling was our second favorite thing to do. Well, I like to travel nationally, around the country, and internationally. And I like art museums. I want to travel to different art museums. But I want to help people. Now, helping people is really important to narrow that down, because you can't say I want to help children, because their children's ages differ, their skill sets and their skill levels are different at every age. So we're going to just use an example, children from 3 to 5 years old. You want to help them learn to read. Well, you want to help them learn to read through your short stories, your trips to the art museum, and using the example of pottery, because there's different pottery all around the world and different art museums, because your favorite hobby is pottery when you're not doing your general work life. So now we're thinking about children's books. So children's books would be our short stories. So you're really just kind of narrowing things down so that you can just get that focus, get that primary focus going on what you really want to do. What is your passion? If I want to write short stories for children ages 3 to 5, then I can take them on a journey or an international journey, educating them about pottery. I mean, there's tons and tons of different arts you can focus on, but because your favorite thing is pottery, we'll just choose that. So now we're writing a short story about an art museum, maybe in London somewhere, that talks about their pottery. So you're educating and you're teaching them to read, and you're using the vocabulary for ages 3 to 5. Now you also have to do one other thing. You have to research your subject. So once you decide what you really want to do, whatever field it's in, you want to look at what kind of pottery do you want to talk about? So you're writing for your ages 3 to 5, and then now you have to develop your characters. That character, I don't know who to do. I could do a toe, I could do a bunny rabbit, I could do a cat, but you can also have a character develop that looks like you, a cartoon character that looks like you, that it's taking them on that journey as you're teaching them how to read. How much fun would that be? And also securing an illustrator. Now, once you've decided I'm going to do this for the kids, I'm going to draw, I'm going to have myself as the person taking all the trips, you can look at ideas, start brainstorming your ideas. Who's going to illustrate this for me? You can look at maybe getting a college student, someone that you know in your family that's an artist, or a friend that's an artist. Online illustrators, there's tons and tons of ways that we can get our passions out there and not spend a whole lot of money. So I just want to encourage you today, and it should be fun. Whatever you do, you should have fun doing it. You should never do or choose anything in your career. And if you need to change careers, say your job is ending, what are you going to do? Start brainstorming ideas. Start using those favorite things that you like to do and turn that into something that really could be a blessing to you, be an encouragement, lift your spirits. A lot of times people are so frustrated with life and frustrated with what they do because they don't like what they do. We have options and we have choices. And sometimes our choices can be narrow depending on our circumstances. I'm not saying that everybody can just throw everything to the wind. I'm not saying that. But I am encouraging you to try to identify a potential passion and purpose that you love doing and take that and move that to the next level. So until next time, thank you for tuning in to He Sent His Word Radio Roundtable. And I thank you for listening, and join us next time on our broadcast. Have a great one.